So I do think one of the biggest challenges is negotiating timelines. In academia, I think we're sort of notoriously slow at doing things. Some of it is because we have a lot of teaching to do, we have research to do, we have service to do, but research structures and processes also slow things down. I do think funding turnaround timelines could be a little bit quicker. I mean, you submit something, and the funding doesn't flow until the following fall. So the excitement, that was happening around the time of designing studies and questions and getting letters of support, it's, up to a year later before you can actually get going. The problem might have actually changed by then, but you can't change the grant. So that's certainly a constraint. And I think the other piece is, we have to apply for research ethics. We absolutely need to ensure that our participants in our research are safe and protected, and that process can take a long time. So there are a couple of bottlenecks in the process that really can frustrate partners. So we can think through ways to mitigate some of those delays, but there will be delays if you're doing things from an academic research perspective. So you just have to be really honest up front.
When you're working with an industry partner, their outcome, their endpoint is often different than that of a researcher's. They're interested in the commercialization and the profit of a particular product, and we're much more driven by the pure discovery and the application of that. It's important to both understand that, but also to align your processes. So I speak much more now in key performance indicators. It's adjusted the language I use in my lab, and my industry partners now know why it's important to draw patients and families into the design process from the beginning. So we have found this hybrid space where we share joint intentions, but also joint processes. I think another aspect that makes establishing partnerships, particularly with industry and private sector organizations, more challenging is just the differences in our deliverables and milestones, what's expected of us. And so we have to strike a balance, for everything I'm helping them to build that possibly becomes a commercialization, I need their support and access to the data to be able to generate a publication that furthers science.
I think a lot of people are aware of the publish or perish sort of mentality, but I've had wonderful mentors who have, enabled me to do things a little bit differently. And I've had wonderful partners who have really motivated me to, take the risks in terms of, the trade-off between, do I spend more time writing these papers that I'm not as interested in, or do I spend more time, cultivating this important relationship? And I think we need to shift the academic mindset to, make sure that those things are incentivized and are rewarded as well. So one of the key things that I've learned in terms of working with different types of partners over the years is really centered around power. So as a researcher, seen as an expert in my field with whatever titles, I have to put those aside. I basically leave those at the door and become humble. We are coming together with different types of expertise, experience, lived experience, and trying to do good work that will have an impact to make things better. I think ground yourself in the problems that you're interested in, and your ego can sort of recede into the background, and you can see what value you bring to the problem. And it certainly will be your expertise, but it's not your credentials, it's your expertise.